We start off today's wrestling news and rumors video with a big update regarding the rumors of former WWE superstar Eva Marie returning to the company in the very near future, because if you hadn't known, over the past couple of days, multiple sources have revealed that Eva Marie and Vince McMahon have in fact come to terms on a new contract with WWE, and that Eva Marie could be returning to WWE TV any day now. There had even been rumors that Eva Marie could have returned last night on Monday Night Raw as part of the final day of the 2020 WWE Draft, but Vince apparently decided to hold off on Eva Marie's return, but we have been told that Eva Marie may be returning on this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown to officially join the blue brand, but if that doesn't end up happening, Eva would then return on next week's episode of Monday Night Raw. So regardless, Eva will be back in WWE within a week or so if all things go according to plan. It's still unknown what Vince McMahon has in store for Eva Marie following her return to WWE, whether she would be positioned on either Raw or Friday Night SmackDown as a singles competitor or as an addition to the women's tag team division, but apparently Vince has big plans for Eva Marie nonetheless, and one source noted that Eva Marie has signed a 3-year contract with WWE, meaning that Eva will be sticking around in the company for quite some time, indicating that it's totally possible that Eva Marie could eventually challenge for one of the main roster women's championships, and considering Lana has recently garnered herself an opportunity at Asuka's Raw Women's title, the rumors of Eva Marie winning the Raw or SmackDown Women's title isn't so far-fetched after all. As well, another former Women's Division superstar that is apparently going to be returning soon is Melina, and while there are not any concrete rumors of when Melina will actually be back in WWE, one source mentioned that Melina will be an active full-time member of the Raw Women's Division before the end of 2020. With all this being said, let us know your thoughts on Eva Marie and Melina returning to WWE soon, and do you think that either of these two returning female superstars are deserving of an opportunity at the Raw or SmackDown Women's Championship, or are these two stars better off utilized in the rather shallow women's tag team division, or as mid-card singles competitors? Last night's edition of Monday Night Raw featured the final day of the 2020 WWE Draft, and by all means, arguably the most shocking draft pick for Raw was the Fiend Bray Wyatt along with his partner Alexa Bliss, with the two superstars making sure to make their presence felt on Raw last night in a big way by dismantling Andrade and Zelina Vega, with it seeming more apparent than ever before that Alexa Bliss and the Fiend Bray Wyatt are working together, with Alexa even being described by WWE as Twisted Alexa Bliss. While some fans are excited about this fresh start and change of pace for the Fiend Bray Wyatt on Monday Night Raw, there's no doubt that some fans are a little bit skeptical on how WWE will decide to utilize the Fiend and Alexa Bliss on Raw, or if the WWE's writers for the Raw brand will essentially ruin the Fiend with lackluster storylines and booking. But according to one of our sources, the main reason why Vince McMahon decided to have the Fiend Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss drafted over to Monday Night Raw is because of the fact that Vince did not want the Fiend to eventually cross paths with the heel Universal Champion Roman Reigns on Friday Night SmackDown, something that had subtly been teased in previous weeks, due to the fact that the WWE would have no choice but to book Roman Reigns to defeat the Fiend, and McMahon reportedly feels like the Fiend Bray Wyatt has become too important of a superstar for the company to continuously take momentum away from him with unnecessary losses, and Vince reportedly felt both Roman Reigns and the Fiend are better off on separate brands where they can dominate their respective shows without having to cross paths at this point. As of right now, one source has mentioned that Vince intends to push the Fiend Bray Wyatt immediately into WWE title contention after Hell in a Cell 2020, and in one of our next videos we will discuss in greater detail the plan backstage officials have for the Fiend Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss when it comes to the WWE Championship scene. Regardless, let us know your thoughts on the Fiend Bray Wyatt along with Alexa Bliss being drafted over to Monday Night Raw last night, and do you agree with Vince McMahon that both Roman Reigns and the Fiend are better off staying as far away from each other as possible at this point in time? Despite the fact that Lars Sullivan had just returned to WWE as of this past week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown, and then again appearing last night on Monday Night Raw by destroying John Morrison, Lars has already generated a lot of public negativity his way with some new information that came to light regarding Lars Sullivan sending some certainly unprofessional messages on his social media, and apparently Lars Sullivan has a ton of backstage heat right now, and also has very few supporters behind the scenes, whether that be fellow WWE superstars superstars or upper management. However, the main reason why Lars Sullivan has apparently not been released or fired from WWE is simply because one of Lars Sullivan's only supporters behind the scenes is none other than Vince McMahon, who has the final say on all things related to WWE, hence why Lars has been spared time and time again, despite there clearly being enough reason to let the big man go. As most of you are likely aware, Lars Sullivan was drafted to Friday Night SmackDown last night on Raw, and it appears as though Vince intends on pushing Lars quite heavily over the next few months, despite all the backlash from fans and his co-workers. And fans should not be too surprised if Lars Sullivan is challenging for Roman Reigns' Universal Championship before year's end. Let us know if you feel the WWE should release Lars Sullivan from the company after he continues to act unprofessional despite getting many second chances by Vince McMahon, or do you feel that Lars' behavior outside of the ring should not affect his standing in WWE, and that McMahon is right for continuously forgiving Lars Sullivan, despite the fact that many superstars want Sullivan gone? We now have our main story featured in this video, and it is regarding the new rumors that have started to go around regarding the WWE planning for the heel Universal Champion Roman Reigns to be forming a new Shield faction on Friday Night SmackDown in late 2020 with Jey Uso and Seth Rollins, who was recently the big WWE Draft pick for the blue brand. While Seth Rollins is still reportedly going to be feuding with Dominik and Rey Mysterio for the foreseeable future, one of our sources has mentioned that one of the main reasons why Seth Rollins was drafted over to Friday Night SmackDown during the 2020 WWE Draft is because Vince wants to try and increase SmackDown's ratings and viewership by having Seth Rollins reform the Shield faction as a heel with the monstrous heel Roman Reigns, with one rumor indicating that Jey Uso and potentially even Jimmy Uso, when he's cleared to return, would be included in this new rendition of the Shield faction in WWE. As most of you can likely agree on, with Roman Reigns now being portrayed as a dominant heel, the storyline truly writes itself for the heel Seth Rollins to realign with his former Shield brother on SmackDown. And one of our sources has mentioned that this storyline may actually begin at the upcoming Hell in a Cell 2020 pay-per-view event, where Roman Reigns is set to defend his Universal Championship against his cousin Jey Uso, with the rumors stating that Seth Rollins would help Roman Reigns defeat Jey Uso in true heel-like fashion, and reunite with Reigns and reform their partnership together, with Jey Uso apparently set to fall in line, so to speak, after Hell in a Cell, and become a member of Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns' new Shield faction after Hell in a Cell 2020, with Jimmy Uso likely to join the new Shield after he's cleared to return from injury sometime in late 2020. As you would likely expect, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns reuniting on SmackDown with the new Shield would certainly not last forever, as the rumor indicated that Roman Reigns would eventually turn on Seth Rollins, thus turning Seth Rollins face in the process, where a feud between Rollins and Reigns would develop in early 2021 for the Universal Championship.